Now, Mick, leading trainer at Glorious Goodwood, 4 winners, Big Evs, wonderful finish to beat Asfura in the King George. Big Mojo, surprise winner to some of us at the Molecombe Stakes, I dare say not to you.
Yeah, no surprise to us.
And you bowl on into York with these 2 horses and more. Tell me a little bit about how you felt coming home from Goodwood.
Very happy. No, I mean, to go there and come out at the end of the week as leading trainer, I mean, unbelievable. For a small yard like ours, for the ammunition we've got compared to some of the bigger trainers like Aidan and John Gosden's, and to sort of beat them to be leading trainer there, I mean, it's all that's to everybody at the yard.
And also, you're going there with pattern race horses, with stakes horses, not just some nice old handicappers. 7 runners you go there with. What do you expect? I know you were an optimist, but what do you expect?
I expected Big Evs to win. No, I mean, realistically, I thought we was probably going there with 2 good chances to win, and I thought all the others had good chance of being placed.
So 2 things have struck me already. 1, that you weren't surprised by Big Mojo, and 2, that you expected Big Evs to win. Where are we at with Big Evs now as we head to the Nunthorpe?
Yeah, so he's in great form. Come out of Goodwood very well. I mean, we've still got the voodoo of York.
When he was a 2-year-old and he ran in the Nunthorpe, and he didn't run very well.
No. I think the reason that was because he had a very hard race at Goodwood in heavy ground.
Right.
I think it just bottomed him before he went to York. Obviously, he proved that he can win at York this year. Mm-hmm. So hopefully he's going there with a very live chance. I think it's a very tough race. I mean, Asfura, I mean, they'll be very hard to beat there.
Do you think they've got a case that they were a bit unlucky not to beat you at Goodwood?
No.
And why? Why do you say that with such conviction?
I don't know what case they can put to say that. I mean, obviously they beat us at Ascot, but obviously Ascot's a completely different track to Goodwood. Mm-hmm. So I think, and obviously York would be very similar to Goodwood, flat track, which should hopefully play to our strengths.
It's a lot flatter than Goodwood, isn't it?
Yeah.
But the emphasis is more on raw pace. And
I mean, there's going to be it's going to be very, very quick. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the track record goes if it's quick ground.
Well, that's what William Darby was suggesting earlier on. You really think that he could dip under Batash's track record? A little bit wind assisted, of course, that day, beating Deja.
I'm not saying he will, but I'm saying I think the track record, whether it'll be us or not, I'm not sure, but it's going to be a very quick race. Tell
me a little bit about this horse when he first came to you, and when you knew that he was a bit different from anything you'd trained before.
Yes, I mean, obviously he's not very big. I mean, he came to us, I mean, he's quite small. Where he was as a 2-year-old, I mean, small for a 2-year-old.
Were you a bit disappointed when you first saw him? You've got to get this blue point that's been quite expensively...
I'm not going to lie, yes, I probably was. When he arrived and he got off the lorry...
Did you sort of think, is that it?
We brought the right horse. Luckily they had. But once we started doing bits of work with him, I mean, we knew they were absolutely electric.
And did he cop on pretty quickly?
Yeah.
Right away?
Straight away, yeah. Once we started doing bits of work with him. I mean, I had seen a video of him before he came to us, when he was still in Ireland, and he was working with an older horse, and Connor rang me up and said, "Oh, have you watched that video?" I said, "Yes." "Which one is it?" And he said, "Oh, it's the one on the near side." I said, "Oh, yeah, I think we could do with him."
When you get a horse that talented as a 2-year-old, how do you work him? Because if you've not got anything of comparable ability, what do you do without doing too much?
Yeah, well, obviously, it didn't work with the other 2-year-olds for long. We had to start working him with the sort of 3-year-olds.
And is that for their benefit, because he was just crushing them?
Yeah, basically, yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously, we've not got sort of a huge amount of 2-year-olds, especially good ones at the time. So he were very hard to keep working him with the other 2-year-olds when he was sort of going so much better than them. So he had to start working with the older horses.
And then you're working with some stakes class sprinters.
Yes, I mean, like, he had a few bits of work with Anaf, and then we sort of knew what we'd got then.
And was he spanking Anaf as well?
No, he wasn't spanking Anaf, no. That took some doing as a 2-year-old.
But he could go with him?
But he could go with him and sort of Racel. Yeah, I mean, he could work with a good sprinters, what we'd got in the yard at the time.
And how does that change the yard? How has it changed the whole feel of the yard?
Well, I think when you sort of go into the big meetings and you've got horses like these, I think it sort of puts everybody gets more of a stride in the step, and right, I think it just makes the yard, really, makes it all worth it.
And there were some wonderful shots when Big Evs won the Breeders' Cup last year. Some of the pictures of your team celebrating at home were really very touching. For them, what was this?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, they put all the hard work in, and to get rewarded in a horse like this, and yeah, I mean, just amazing, especially to go over to America and win over there. There's not many British trainers have done it.
And it was a new experience for you, this, but it was one that you seem to take to as pretty readily as you've taken to everything else. Tell me a little bit about preparing him for a Breeders' Cup.
Well, we didn't really change much, apart from we jumped him out with the gates we had in West Bell.
Yeah, you used Adam Westwood living the dream.
Adam let me his bell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that worked? Did it help?
It probably did help just doing it once a turn with him first. But I mean, he's not a nervous horse or anything, so I don't think it'd have made any difference in the race. But who knows?
So he's going into the Nunthorpe in the sort of form you want him in?
Yeah, no, he's in great form. I think it's, like I say, I think it's going to be a very tough race. I think Ash 4 will possibly take all the beating.
And Big Mojo, who won the Molecombe Stakes at a big price, but for the same owners, Paul and Rachel Teasdale, you said you weren't at all surprised by...
No, I mean, he'd been working very well. Yeah, I mean, he'd come on a lot from his first run at Beverley. Yeah, so we're expecting a big run from him.
And that's exactly what you got. Could you make comparisons between him and Big Evs at this stage of their careers?
I mean, Big Mojo is sort of, there's more of him. I mean, he's a bigger horse, more compact. So I think he's got a big stride on him. I mean, whether he's going to be as quick as Big Evs, I mean, he possibly is, I would think. So hopefully he goes and wins the Jim Crack. Then Rachel's got to do a Jim Crack speech, which she's absolutely dreading.
Yeah, so this is Rachel Teasdale, the owner. Paul Teasdale and you, haven't you been revving her up about this for about a year? That
yes.
One day you'll win this and she'll have to make the speech.
Yeah, I think she started the speech a year ago.
But it's definitely Rachel.
Definitely Rachel, yeah.
And you've got owners here who are prepared to get stuck in and invest. Tell me a little bit about your relationship with them.
Yeah, I mean, we have got some good owners. I mean, we've got quite a few syndicates now. I mean, Value Racing, James has, I mean, he keeps buying horses and he does very well with them on a very small budget. And I think it's people like James and obviously the horse watchers. I think it's people like them that'll keep us going. And Paul, obviously Paul's a man on his own, Paul and Rachel, so but Paul invests a lot of money into racing and backs the yard 100%, which is good for us. So I think without people like them, obviously it won't be possible. And I think, especially with the syndicates.
Mm-hmm. And do you enjoy the syndicate side of things? Because it's fair to say you're not a gregarious, massively outgoing, big entertainer.
Am I not?
We're seeing
Who
it.
told you that?
We're going to see it now. Well, actually, I suppose it depends who you're with, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
It depends who you're with.
You've obviously never been in my company at the right time.
Clearly I haven't. I'm missing out. This is what the Dixon boys keep telling me.
Yes.
But you wouldn't be one for, like, massively pushing yourself, would you? That's what I mean. You're not all singing, all dancing.
No, I wouldn't. No,
You know.
no. I let the horses do the talking.
And in terms of method, and everyone says it, right? Mick Appleby he's got a formula. He's got a way of keeping these horses sweet, of getting this job done better than most, or at least comparable to all the big trainers in the country. If you were asked to sum up how you've got from here to here, what would you say?
No idea. I think the main thing is having the horses happy, having the staff happy. I think everybody's just got to be happy, and you've got to have a good team behind you, definitely.
That's interesting, because when we spoke before, and you came in before, we talked quite a bit about how you, as a younger man, and through your early part of your career, that wasn't always the case.
No, it wasn't.
You weren't always happy, and you'd have happily disappeared out of racing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm probably glad I did it now.
I bet you're very glad you didn't.
Yes.
What do you think it was that stopped you disappearing altogether?
I suppose the love of horses and love of horse racing. I mean, obviously, it's in my blood now, and obviously I'd never change that.
But when you'd had enough and you were feeling really jaded, and it took a massive toll on your mental health, to actually draw you back to something that had fundamentally, lifestyle had made you pretty miserable, that's a very powerful pull, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was at the time. I think obviously I'd moved over to Ibiza. I think it took a lot to persuade him to get me back from there. But no, I mean, obviously I've never looked back since.
How long were you? Remind me how long you were in Ibiza for?
I was there for about 12 months.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, my father had a bar out there. So I just lived the high life for a year.
But you make a joke of it now, but was that actually, in some senses, the most important year? Because it gave you a bit of perspective, a bit of distance.
Yeah, it possibly was. I mean, obviously, it gave me a lot of time to think about things. And like I did miss the horse and miss horse racing.
So you just needed that distance, needed that absence to draw you back in.
Yeah.
I've never really talked to you about ambitions, because you just seem to turn up, get things done, and then look to the next time. But in your private moments, do you have ambitions to push this enterprise to greater heights still? Do you ever think about what it's going to be like in 5 years' time, 10 years' time?
I'll probably be retired by then.
You don't mean that.
I always said I was going to retire at 55. And I'm 54 now.
I was going to say, how's that project going? Yeah, I didn't want to say anything.
You're going to say I'm past 55. Yes, I don't think there's any talk of any retirement at the moment. So I'll keep going as long as I can.
That's it. It's very hard to put down, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've talked about this with a lot of trainers.
Yeah.
What do you think it is about the job itself that actually gives you the motivation to do it?
I think firstly, I've never looked at it as a job. I've looked at it as a way of life. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what makes the big difference. I think the first day I wake up in the morning and think, I don't want to get up and go out to the yard today. I think that'd be the day I do retire. I think that's a long way off yet.
And presumably, the people you surround yourself with are incredibly important.
Oh yes, exactly. Yeah. Now we've got some great people around me. Obviously, my husband Johnny, he does quite a lot behind the scenes that people don't see. And we got 2 wonderful daughters now. So.
Tell me a little bit about the growing Appleby family. Well, it's Clayton Appleby, isn't it? Or it's Appleby Clayton. I can never remember which one.
Clayton Appleby.
It's Clayton Appleby. It's got a better ring to it, hasn't it? Clayton Appleby.
Yeah, that's what Johnny said.
And Johnny's normally right, to be fair. So tell me about family life then. So you got 2 little girls?
Yeah, so we adopted 2 little girls, and that's why I'm going more grey by the day.
OK, so how long ago?
So they've been with us for a year now. Mm-hmm. and they've settled in really well. They've both got the ponies, so they're going to be up-and-coming jockeys. I've already had a bet with Gary Wiltshire that one of them will be champion apprentice. He gave me 100 to 1.
And how old are they now?
So they are 4 and 5.
Lovely.
So we've got quite a bit of waiting to do, yeah.
And talk to me about, for you and Johnny, for the process of adoption. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very long process.
Yeah,
I mean,
so people say.
It took us like over 2 years. But yeah, I mean, it is a long process, but I mean, it's all been worth it in the end.
And you've got to be incredibly committed, obviously, but it is something that takes quite a big emotional toll, doesn't it?
Oh, it does, yes, yeah. I mean, obviously, to start with, what we've done here, I mean, plenty of sleepless nights. I mean, it's all working out well, and I mean, they're getting on really good, and we love them to bits. Wouldn't change things for anything. And
so you say you've got them both on ponies?
Yeah, they're both riding. Yeah.
Naturals?
Yeah, there will be. At least they fall off and get back on more than I did.
Do you miss your riding days?
No.
I thought you might say that. Well, at least the next generation is coming along.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Yeah.
And it's inconceivable the way you've described it, that they're not going to just be around horses their whole upbringing. But is the industry, as you know it now, somewhere that you feel happy bringing children into, or encouraging them to work in? Yes,
I think it is. Yes, yeah. I think the industry as a whole is improving all the time now, apart from the prize money.
I think we've given that a pretty good bashing today, haven't we? But it's an interesting point Sam Hoskins was making a little earlier on about prize money, not just for its own sake. It's not an argument about owners needing a return on their investment, but about just strengthening the whole ecosystem, really.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yes. But who's going to do anything about it? That's the thing.
Well, you might if you take a step forward into the corridors of power. Fancy a gig as NTF president at some point?
Oh, I'd love it.
There you are. You heard it here first. Tell me a little bit about what else you've got to run at York this week. So we've got Big Evs and Big Mojo.
So we got Shagran, who won at Goodwood as well.
So he goes in the 5.5 furlong.
Yeah, he's in the 5.5 handicap.
Curtain raiser, yeah.
Then we've got Mr. Lightside. Have we got anything else there?
Yes. Howth?
Howth. We got Howth in the stayers. Which, I think he'll have a very good chance around there.
So you're taking, what, 5 or half a dozen?
Yeah, I think we got 5 there.
So it was 4 out of 7 at Goodwood. What would you settle for here?
I'd settle for 4.
4 out of 5 at York. His standards are nothing if not high.